we're going to be talking about why sleep is essential and why you're safer than you actually think. So now that you understand the stages, the rhythms, the drive, you might still say, well, what is keeping me up at night? And what's going to happen to me? I have had people come in when I ask them about their sleep. Why? And one of the things they say is, I'm scared I'm going to die young. Like literally, I'm scared I'm going to have dementia. I'm scared I'm going to drop dead from a stroke, right? Because when you look at the what's out there, right? What's in the media, poor sleep is associated with heart attacks. Poor sleep is associated with dementia. Imagine going to bed with that kind of pressure weighing on you, right? That fear that you're losing control, that fear that you are intentionally destroying your body and destroying your brain because you cannot sleep. This is literally one of the biggest reasons why people with insomnia stay awake. This is it. Like there's no other reason other than this constant fear that they are dying slowly, right? And so you can imagine you're going to bed, you don't get good sleep, you're going to freak out. And we know, you know, that when you're freaking out and when you're not able to sleep, of course, you're going to freak out more and you don't sleep, right? So today, let's really look at what sleep does for us, what happens when it's disrupted, and why even when you sleep poorly, your body is not broken and your brain is not deteriorating. It's almost like speaking to that elephant in the room, because again, that is why I asked you to do that, your sleep why, right? Because many people, if you look back, you might have said things like, because I don't want to die young, because I don't want to have dementia, because I don't want to have hypertension, you know? And so this is important. It's literally me giving you that just that assurance. You're not going to die because you have insomnia. And I'm going to explore and talk to you about what some of the research shows and things like that. So let's jump right in. So yes, we understand sleep is not a luxury. Sleep is not something that you can do without, right? Sleep is something that is important. It's a maintenance process. It is built into your biology. Your brain knows it needs to sleep, and your brain actually knows how to sleep. It's just out of sync right now. It's important because sleep builds your brain. It helps with your mood. It helps ensure that your body is repaired. And so here are the few things that happen when you're sleeping well. The first is memory and learning, because this is important, right? During sleep, especially during that REM sleep and deep sleep, your body and your brain actually consolidates memories. It clears out the noise. It strengthens what you've learned during the day. So if you've had a day of a lot of learning or whatever it is you're processing, when you get to sleep, it kind of helps with consolidating that. Think of it like a filing cabinet. Your sleep really is that opportunity for your brain to file things into long-term memory, into short-term memory, things you do not need at all, things you might need sometime. All that process is occurring during sleep. So that's really important. The other function is, or the other benefit is emotion regulation. Sleep actually helps you dial down the activity of a part of your brain called the amygdala. This is your emotional alarm center. This is that part of the brain that helps you say, okay, chill, it's all good. There's no fire right here, right? And that's why when you don't have a good night of sleep, everything feels like 30% worse when you're sleep deprived. So coffee that's spilled when you had a good night of sleep becomes chaos when coffee spills after a bad night of sleep, right? So really sleep can help with emotion regulation. And then the third thing is your physical repair, right? Growth hormone actually peaks at night. Your immune system needs time to recover. And that occurs during daily sleep. So if you think about people who are working out, doing all this, going to the gym, if you don't give your body enough time to sleep, you're not actually getting the benefit from that exercise. You're not getting the muscles to recover. And then the fourth is detoxification. So there's a process in your brain called the glymphatic or G lymphatic system. And literally this is your brain's cleaning crew. So think of it like people coming to wash off crud and stuff that's deposited on the surface of your brain overnight, right? Or over the course of the day. So cleaning out the waste products, cleaning out things like beta amyloid. We don't want beta amyloid staying in our brain. It can contribute to potential dementia in the future, right? And then there's also your metabolic reset. So this is really about the balance of all those hormones, right? Hormones like leptin, hormones like ghrelin, all those hormones help with changing and reducing cravings in your body, and they regulate your glucose control, they impact your metabolism, all that good stuff. So I mean, like literally, I'm a sleep nerd. So I'm like salivating just thinking about, oh my God, look at all that yummy stuff that sleep provides for us. So yes, don't get me wrong. Sleep is essential. Sleep is critical. But here's something I want you to understand. Sleep is resilient. Your sleep is resilient and you can bounce back. So here's the piece that scares most people when we don't sleep, right? When we don't get enough sleep. If you're a healthy person and maybe you wake up for a few nights, you're up at night, you're partying with friends, you'll see some changes, a little bit of tiredness, some mood impact. You may feel forgetful sometimes. Your concentration starts to drift, right? If you're not sleeping, you may notice that your body releases more stress hormones, so you feel a little bit more aggravated. Your immune system may be affected, so it becomes a little less efficient. But the thing about it is this: these effects actually reverse pretty quickly when you get recovery sleep. Your body again is resilient. It is extraordinarily great at bouncing back. So yes, you'll see all the headlines. Sleep deprivation causes dementia and you're freaking out. Or lack of sleep causes early death. Like, who would not freak out? So let's unpack what all that means. Because I am just done with people with insomnia being like scared to death, like literally when they see these headlines, and now they're exploring it more. And the thing about it is, a lot of times, the people that are reading those blogs, those articles, looking at those posts on social media are not necessarily good sleepers. Oh, God, this frustrates me so much. I'm so sorry. But these are people who are trying, they're looking for solutions to fix their sleep. And now you go online and they say, yeah, you're going to die, right? Like, it is just such injustice. It just breaks my heart. So here is what I want you to understand with insomnia and really understand about a lot of the studies, this research. Almost all the studies that were done were looking at chronic sleep deprivation. The research was done on people who maybe they went sleeping about 4 to 5 hours for years, right? And they're not sleeping by 4 to 5 hours like, because they have insomnia. They were doing it intentionally to some degree, either based on lifestyle, maybe based on shift work. That is not the same as insomnia. They were not, people who are in bed for 12 hours trying to sleep. These were people who that either had work obligations that didn't allow them to sleep, or choices. They made choices to not sleep. Insomnia is not sleep deprivation. If there's anything you're going to take away from this model, understand that insomnia is not sleep deprivation. Insomnia is a state of hyperarousal. It is your body not shutting down entirely. And in fact, most people with insomnia spend a lot of time resting. And what EEGs and studies like that have shown is that when people with insomnia are studied, you actually are getting some light sleep. So it's not no sleep. So here's the real data. People with chronic sleep deprivation are at risk for dementia, are at risk for early death. But people with insomnia, right, do not have those kind of risks. You might be at risk for things like depression. You might be at risk for things like anxiety. But when you control for sleep opportunity, it's completely different. And so insomnia can make you feel anxious. It may make you feel exhausted, but it's not going to be that straight road to your brain getting damaged. The actual fear, the biggest risk with insomnia is the fear that leads to hypervigilance. It's the fear that leads to increased effort in trying to force sleep to happen. So when you're in bed, when you're awake and you're saying, I'm going to ruin my brain, I'm going to ruin my brain, your brain is built to protect you. Your sleep is resilient. Your sleep is resilient. again and again. And when you think of sleep, like with nutrition, right? You may have skipped a few meals, right? Your body is not going to collapse. It will adjust. And for most people with insomnia, they do pretty good during the day because you're of that constant state of hyperarousal. So yes, you need to sleep, but I want you to understand that you are teaching your body to sleep by watching this course, by paying attention, by being intentional, and learning to calm down that arousal system, which is going to be one of the big pieces that we're going to address in this course. Because when you are able to get to the point that you calm that arousal system to let sleep to happen, remember, you cannot force sleep, but you can let it happen, your body will readjust. You will get your deep sleep back. You will get REM sleep back. You will get an increase in your total sleep. And then over time, your sleep efficiency improves. You start to feel better. And you start to understand that I am pretty resilient. So panic is not going to work. Patience is going to work. Don't freak out. Poor sleep in a person who's sleep deprived is completely different from sleep in a person with insomnia. So your sleep is not broken, it's out of sync. Your body will learn to sleep again. So here are the things we're going to be talking about next. We're going to be talking about sleep hygiene. I think this is important. This is not going to fix your insomnia, but it is important because we want to build that foundation. Remember, we talked about the fact that you need to create an opportunity for sleep to happen. So, what is our homework? Our homework, right, for this session, for this model is this. I want you to do some reflection, and I want you to reflect on what fears come up for me when I think about not sleeping. What are the kind of fears that are coming up? And then I want you to follow with the second question. What are some evidences that I have to show my body is resilient? It may be for you to say, well, I had a very crappy night of sleep or season of sleep, and I still aced my test. I still got the job. I still took care of my kids. And so we need to start to reframe. The second prompt is really, I want you to now take those fears and provide an alternative for those fears. So I'm going to get dementia. What is the new understanding? Insomnia is not sleep deprivation, and your brain rests and eventually will recover. Question, another prompt is, I'll ruin my health. Well, sleep loss, the effect of sleep loss is reversible once your system is able to reset. So provide alternatives to your brain that is offering you these thoughts that are not exactly healthy, that are not sleep promoting. Because when you do that, you're going to be able to lower that arousal system. And then I'm going to explore just a free writing. That's a gratitude prompt. And I want you, instead of worrying about brain damage, instead of worrying about dementia, instead of worrying about heart attack, think about your brain and how it has kept you safe all these years, all these 20 years, all these 18 years, all these 30 years, all these 40 years, all these 50 years. Your brain has kept you safe. Thank your brain and tell it can calm down and not panic. And write a thank you letter to your brain for keeping you safe. This is going to be a game changer. And so I want you to work on those prompts over, the next time we see. And then from there, we're going to build on another critical foundation. And those are the sleep hygiene, the optimal sleep hygiene tips to help you to sleep well. Until next time, I hope you rest well.